All right, guys, so we got to talk about a Texas diner that has now closed after implementing a viral mask mandate. Now, this mask mandate was implemented back in March, in which the restaurant says it was a joke, but essentially it was saying that they were going to charge you if you disagree with the mandate. It was like $50, and if you argue with the owner about it or something like that, then it's like $75. And that's supposed to be a joke, but you still have to wear a mask. Now, a few months later, they're closing. So I want you guys to watch the news story on this, and I'm going to chime in with my opinion. Take a look.
A Denton diner that made headlines for its strict mask mandate will close soon. The doors for good. It's one of thousands of restaurants in our state that's shutting down. NBC5's Maria Guerrero spoke with the owners about their tough decision.
Like the 50s-style memorabilia now for sale. In just over a week, Legends Diner will be history. Less than 2 years after opening.
We're really at a disadvantage here that we have to stop the bleeding, I guess you can say.
It's one of 9,000 restaurants that have closed so far in the pandemic, according to the Texas Restaurant Association. And anxiety, the association says, continues to simmer with the fast-spreading Delta variant. Cautious customers have been staying home, says owner Wayne Lacombe.
It's just unfortunate the COVID numbers that have gotten in a situation again that we just can't handle.
Also, with no clear end in sight, he says, a 2019 construction project along Elm Street that's supposed to finish later this year.
3 months, 4 months, and then they'd say, oh, you got another month, got another 2 months.
The diner drawing national attention for its posted mask requirement in March, jokingly warning argumentative anti-maskers of a surcharge.
When we put the sign up, it was done in humor, but we wanted to make sure we got a word across that we were serious about this. Kat is a retired RN. So we want to make sure everybody is safe.
The closure leading some to take to social media, suggesting the small business owners are getting what they deserve for their staunch views on masking.
It's kind of hard to have respect for people that don't feel the pain that you're feeling. So it is what it is.
Great place.
Legends' focus, however, is on their loyal customers, grateful for their business and support.
Well, we weren't expecting it to come quite this soon, but as the story says, I guess that's all, folks.
Maria Guerrero, NBC5.
The Texas Restaurant Association says hiring is ramping back up, but restaurants are still struggling to make a profit because of high commodity prices and reduced operating hours.
Now, before I get in my commentary, I say this in all videos. I'm talking about the vaccine, the pandemic, mask, whatever, right? I'm not making any claims about the mask. I'm not making any claims about vaccines. I'm not making any claims about the pandemic or the virus, right? If you have any questions about that, consult your medical professional. This is about public policy only. All right, guys. So obviously, listen, I don't like to see small businesses close, okay? Because that is losing jobs, right? Somebody just lost their job. Somebody is no longer employed. Now, this diner apparently has lost over $200,000 since 2020. Right? $200,000. So they've really been struggling bad. Okay. And I just find that, if you're struggling like this, right, I found the decision by this owner to implement this mandate to be interesting. Because you would think that, in a situation like that where you're struggling financially, that you wouldn't be in a position to be given mandates. Now, I understand people, want to feel like they're protecting themselves and they want to put themselves in a position where, again, they want to try to be safe. I understand that. But you're also running a business and you're in Texas, right? The red state of Texas, right? In which, a lot of your customers may not necessarily think too kindly about a mandate. And then on top of that, to try to have a joke in which you're going to charge people if they don't agree with your mandate. That, to me, it seems like you kind of were playing with fire there. And it seems like the restaurant kind of went a little bit too far. So in my opinion, I'm like, from a business standpoint, is it really worth it, right? You can put a sign on the door, and plenty of businesses do this, where they say, hey, it's preferred, right? We strongly encourage, right? You don't have to make it a mandate, right? Again, I don't see if you're in position to make a mandate. Now, I mean, my gym guys, right, here in North Carolina, they actually re-implemented a mandate, but they don't enforce it for whatever reason, okay? So it's actually pretty interesting how that works. right? From a business standpoint. Now, I will say, this is the libertarian argument for businesses being able to implement things like this, right? This is what the libertarians say will happen, right? They say, well, we might not necessarily agree with it, but businesses, because some libertarians see businesses as people, right? And I'm not trying to characterize all libertarians. Libertarians generally tend to be more free market than conservatives, okay? They tend to be more in line with that, right? They tend to side with businesses quite a bit more, right? And they say, well, if a business does something that, the people don't agree with, that consumers don't agree with, then the free market would take care of it. And I guess in this situation, you can say that that's kind of what happened, right? This restaurant implemented a mandate instead of giving a preference, and the free market took care of it, right? The free market said, hey, you can't really survive like this, right? So, I mean, I just find this to be interesting in terms of how, in this situation, capitalism is actually working. But I really don't, like to see this being done with small businesses. I kind of wish that, this same principle would apply to larger businesses, because larger businesses, on the other hand, like Amazon can do what the hell they want to do, right? And there's nothing really going to happen to them because they're too big to fail. There are companies out there that have such a large market share that they can do whatever they want in terms of requirements from customers, and yet there is no free market solution because they are the market, right? They can just buy up whatever competition, right, is potentially trying to come after them before they get big enough to actually be a threat, right? This is what we see happening with social media, right? A lot of these social media companies. So again, I mean, it seems like these principles of, well, the free market is going to take care of it, that seems to only really apply to small businesses, and for, big multinational corporations, not so much. Okay, I'm not saying it doesn't apply at all. I'm just saying there's an argument to be made that is more in line with, the modern day 2021 conservative viewpoint in regards to how, these companies may be abusing their market share and their power. And that's something that conservatives are realizing, is that, okay, well, these companies really are kind of immune from the broader effects of, consumer choice and stuff like that, because they have such a strong market share, right? And that's kind of what you're seeing play out. That's why I try to tell you guys, there's a divorce coming up between libertarians and conservatives, because conservatives are becoming more kind of anti-big corporation now, because big corporations have gone woke, right? And conservatives say, well, we don't want woke corporations, right? We might like the free market, but woke corporations might be too much. I'm just saying, businesses that really seem to be the most affected by these capitalistic principles, right, of consumer choice and preference, seems to be the small businesses, right? Seems to be the small businesses. So I find it interesting because, again, you're seeing large chain stores, that, are implementing this stuff, and, obviously they're going to be fine. Okay, but if a small business does it, it can be a possibility that, they're putting themselves at risk in terms of their business. They can't afford to lose customers. Also, what's interesting is how they talked about how, the business struggled because of the increase in commodity prices, right? AKA inflation. So here we are with inflation popping up again, where people are saying, these restaurants, it's harder for them to operate because of capacity limits, right? These restrictions and inflation on top of that, which is something the Biden administration is contributing to, paying people to stay at home and not work, which is straining supply chains, right? So, like I said, I just found this situation to be interesting. I don't like seeing small businesses close, but hey, man, like I said, this is kind of how capitalism functions. The market has spoken, right? So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.